I feel that we as a workshop sit on the shoulders of centuries of people. And when you think about the beginnings of the materials, all they were looking at was the world around them. But somehow you had over these years the understanding that lacquer, which is a very sort of unpleasant material in some ways, it tends to react with your skin. Somebody persevered. They understood that this was a very, very strong and protective layer. You could put on the outside of boats and it would stop salt water attacking the wood. And then you could make beautiful objects and you could make spiritual objects. So the whole sort of development of how these crafts has happened is now I'm here, 21st century, and all of these masters who we don't know their names, but we see the pieces in museums in Europe and Asia, and you think, wow, they were the real creators because they didn't have what we have today, all of this knowledge of books and information of how to do it. So they were working in a much simpler environment. So I think that's a sort of respectful praise to these crafts. The reason I came to Bangkok in the first place in 1981 was with my mum, dad, and younger brother. My father was running a company in England which was called Global Village Crafts, which its name describes that we were importing these handicrafts, folk art, antiques from around the world. At one point he was importing from about 80 different countries, South America, Africa, and Asia. And I remember landing in Don Mueang before they'd finished building it. So when you came out of the airplane, you walked down onto the tarmac and then you walked into a big hangar for airplanes. And that's where the immigration was. And I remember just feeling this wave of heat immediately. And then when we drove from Don Mueang into Bangkok, it was all paddy fields. I mean, you can't believe it when you drive in that area now. But I just remember green paddy fields, Thai temples, all the mirrorwork sparkling. And then we got into the city. We stayed in the old Amarin Hotel. But the experience of that trip, which I could go into detail, I can remember all the things. My mum made me keep a scrapbook, so I kind of wrote it all down, remember it to this day, was just having some sort of love affair. Really a powerful sense of, I love what I'm smelling, what I'm seeing, what I'm tasting, everything about it, the people we were meeting, the feeling of walking down Sukhumvit Road with all that traffic blaring. I just thought, this is a good place. Something felt at home with me somehow. And so in that sense now we're nearly 25 years old. I can imagine sometimes talking to me 25 years ago and taking me around what we've built. And it's kind of an emotional thought. Today, I have the responsibility of a company, of all the people working here, to keep that material fresh for our customers, relevant within this market, so that people today still stop and look at lacquer and say, I've never seen it like that before. I've never seen that, and I want to touch it. And I would say that our clients see in what we make a sort of soulfulness about the process, an authenticity in the materials that they can say to their client, this really is the real thing. There's a lot of things that look like something, but this is shagreen made as shagreen was made in Japan in the 1500s, in England in the 17th and 18th century. This is straw made, and it was just the same process as the 16th century in France. But with this new form and this new combination, because this table has bronze threads inlaid into it, cast bronze feet, and this cabinet has deeply gouged handles, and it's kind of a monumental piece. And so it's the material in its kind of majestic state. But the design is not going to hit you as hard modern, let's say. because I feel that the material is the thing that I am most respectful to, I want that material to be the star of the show. So everything else is a platform for the material, the form and the shape and everything. Now, how can I let this client live with the material, which is going to grow more beautiful while they live with it, which is unique to natural materials. You're not going to live with a resin table and see it growing more and more beautiful. And most of the furniture you're buying is covered with some form of plastic, so it's going to start peeling and have some problem at some point. Whereas shagreen is going to be more beautiful in 200 years than it is now. It's just going to get more and more beautiful. The lacquer is going to be harder, natural lacquer, harder. The color sort of bloom like wine, you know. So the durability of these materials is incredible. But people often want something sort of really, like they want to chuck wine all over it and everything. So then they end up with having polyesters and acrylics and nitrocellulose and polyurethanes and things which are going to degrade into their surface. We're not doing that. We have these very natural materials made beautifully. I think strong designs, but also kind of quiet, because you don't get soulful if you're shouting. That's how I see it.